let's move on to one of my favorite segments. Why would he say that? I know I'm about a week late, but this topic, it's really important, I think, to discuss. So, Carson from Nerd Sesh, very popular YouTuber, very popular podcast, and Carson, I want to say this, like myself, he's obviously great at it. He is a super sports nerd. I feel him on that. When he does these, him and Logan, they do all these little, especially like their short form content where they're naming off all these historical things, and they do a lot of by the numbers, but they do it in a way that genuinely, and I want to make sure I clarify this before I go in, a way that is different to me than when guys, quote unquote, just, when you say somebody is watching the game through a stat sheet, I don't think they do that, but he can definitely recite the game off a stat sheet. And it's a really cool experience, and if you're into that start of the nerdier side of sports, it's a cool thing to watch. I like the show, genuinely a fan. What I think is wrong, and I've said this a bunch, when he tweets, Demar DeRozan, if he averages 18 points a game for 105 games, he is going to pass Shaquille O'Neal and he's going to be top 10 all time in scoring. I find that truly disturbing. DeMar DeRozan responds, calls him a clown, says he lives on the internet, etc., etc. And DeMar has every right to clap back at him. And then his response basically is that, oh, well, you're not a super impactful player, and, you know, your teams are better with you off the court than on the court. Listen, this is why it's a problem. And the people that are defending Carson, by the way, I think you are making it look worse. Because the people that defend Carson are in that similar vein of they wish they could tweet something and a player respond, and that lead to views and eyes on their show or their podcast or their platform. Here's my biggest issue with the whole thing, and again, like I said, I'm a fan of his show. I'm a fan of DeMar DeRozan, also the player. What I think is the worst part of this is that he says if he just averages 18 points per game for another 105 games. Do we not realize how hard that is? If you are an average human being, and guess what? I'm an average human being. Carson's an average human being. DeMar DeRozan is a professional basketball player. 18 points per game for another 105 games. Count the amount of humans in history that have done that. I want to be serious. 18 points a game for 105 games. A lot of people are going to go, well, that's not that impressive. Guys score 20 all the time. Guys score 30 all the time. It's easier to score in the league. No. Really think about 18 points a game, 105 games. How many guys historically have never done that? Think of number one overall picks who have never done that. Think of lottery picks who have never done that. Think of role players on championship teams who have never done that. We get so diluted because we know who the guys are. There's a reason why Kevin Durant is special. And him averaging 25 plus per game, even at this age, is something that you may never see again. Why a guy like Steph Curry, you may never see again. LeBron, you definitely will never see again. These guys who are getting into the 20s, the high 20s, even if it's low 20s. Do you know why DeMar DeRozan is going to be top 10 all time in scoring? Is because he's one of 10 guys in the history of the planet to do that. Think about it. Because we know the guys, we feel that it's okay to just compare them only to themselves, and I get it, yes, that's a part of being in professional sports, that's a part of this dynamic around, who's good, who's great, etc. And no one's saying DeMar DeRozan's a better basketball player than Shaq. DeMar DeRozan probably wouldn't even say that. Maybe he would, who knows? NBA players and athletes in general they do have extremely high levels of confidence. But you know why Shaq's not going to keep his top 10 all-time place? It's because Shaq, while obviously his peak is much higher than DeMar DeRozan, Shaq doesn't have near the career in terms of length of DeMar DeRozan. DeMar consistently staying healthy, DeMar consistently being a guy 18 to 24 points per game, DeMar consistently being a guy whose teams were making, now they ran into LeBron James a bunch, but consistently made the playoffs, had the chance to make playoff runs. That's why DeMar DeRozan is going to be top 10 all the time. It's not disturbing. It's not, whether you want to say it's a joke or not, it has nothing to do with, I can't believe it, DeMar DeRozan, no, DeMar DeRozan is going to be top 10 all time in scoring because he deserves it. DeMar DeRozan is going to be top 10 all time in scoring because he has put in the work, he has scored the points. And when we get too caught up in the numbers behind something, which again, I love looking at the numbers. Again, I like their show. Numbers can provide context and numbers can give you part of the story, but they are not the whole story. Analytics are not everything. They're just not. And when we diminish, again, 18 points, 105 games, how many people ever have done that? DeMar is going to have scored over 25,000 plus points. Well, I forget what number Shaq's at. How many people have ever done that? The answer is 10, and DeMar's joining him, and he'll push himself into the top 10 all time. And this is why NBA players, and I say this all the time, this is why this segment I think is important. NBA players are looking at you going, it's not that they don't want to like people who talk on microphones, but it's they know anybody can do this. Anybody can sit down, get a camera, get a microphone, start talking, saying things. We all can't go play in the NBA. So when you say something like that, you are on the wrong side of what is plausible. You're on the wrong side of what is possible. You're on the wrong side of what is realistic. This is realistic for almost anybody. What DeMar DeRozan doing is only realistic for 0.1% of people walking the planet. And nobody goes, wow. Because think about this. And you would call DeMar DeRozan a dick. You'd call him awful names if he said this. Wow, Carson and Logan are out of 1 million. I don't know what their subscriber count is. They're about to have 1 million subscribers. I find that deeply disturbing. Because players can't clap back all the time, and when you have a bad show, a bad podcast, a bad video, and trust me, I got them. But we can sit there and clap it. He has a bad game, a bad career, a bad week, a bad stretch. I find that disturbing, joke or not. And Carson made a big deal, like, what if I used words different than disturbing? The words disturbing doesn't matter that much. It's that you took something 18 points, and I'm using the low end compared to what a lot of people would say. 18 points per game, 105. Podcasters ever would say, oh, yeah, it's just a good player. He's okay. He's nothing special. No, 18 points on 105 games is special. 1% of people on the planet can do it. And most of the people with podcast mics, you aren't a part of that 1%. Why would he say that, man? I mean, if you want to be a part of one of the coolest, most unique communities, don't forget to like and subscribe.